He says, "Go." Good evening. My name is Toni Munguia, and I'm the Director of Recruitment, Retention, and Diversity here in the Purdue Polytechnic. I want to welcome you to our broadcast, especially for women in technology. We have broadcasts almost every week that focus on many of the majors offered here in the Purdue Polytechnic. But for tonight, we would like to discuss valuable resources, organizations, and success strategies for our female students. Our college is a little over 20%, maybe 21, 22% female students. And we're always trying to provide more opportunities and resources for our women in technology. Several current students and an alumna are here with me tonight. They will be our panelists, and they will introduce themselves in a minute. But first, just a couple of logistics for the broadcast. We will cover a variety of topics about what it's like being a woman in technology majors here at Purdue. We would also love to hear from you and to answer your questions. You can submit questions through the chat function on YouTube. Log in with your Google account or create one to submit questions. I'm going to repeat that just so that just to be aware, so that you're aware, because sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of be able to do this. So you can submit your questions through the chat function on YouTube. Log in with your Google account or create one to submit questions. Okay. Our technical director, John O'Malley, will be monitoring the chat and will try to pass along your questions to us. If we don't get to your questions tonight, feel free to send a follow-up email to techrecruit@purdue.edu, and we will respond later on. And I'll repeat that later on in the session as well. So before we get on with our discussion topics tonight, I'd like to ask each of our panelists to introduce themselves and tell us your major, your year in school, and where you're from, okay? So we'll start with Zera. Will you go first and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So, hi, my name is Zahra Al-Awadi. I'm currently a junior studying electrical engineering technology with a minor in supply chain management technology, and I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm currently the Women in Technology Secretary, and I would love to introduce you to Melanie, our president.
Hi everyone, my name is Melanie Sperrazza. I am currently a junior here at Purdue. I am double majoring in cybersecurity and network engineering technology with a minor in law and society, and I am the president of Women in Tech. I'll pass it off to Elsa.
Hi everyone, I'm Elsa Jerry. I'm a sophomore majoring in user experience design and minoring in psychology and communication. I'm an international student from India. I'm part of the publicity committee for Women in Tech. I'll pass this on to Katherine.
Hi everyone, my name is Katherine Barrientos Moreno. I'm a junior in user experience design with a minor in psychology and a certificate in collaborative leadership, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Thank you,
Pass it off
ladies.
to Taylor.
Well, I was going to say our last but not least, and we're very happy to have Taylor Younkins with us tonight. She's a 2021 graduate from the Polytechnic, and she has joined us from Seattle tonight. And she's been in other broadcasts when she was a student, but this is the first time as a college graduate. So Taylor, please introduce yourself and share what your major was and where you are from and currently working. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Toni, for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name's Taylor. I'm currently an information security software engineer for Apple out of Seattle. I majored in cybersecurity with a minor in communication, and I'm originally from Columbia, Maryland.
Thank you, ladies. So let's get started. Very first question. Why did you choose the Polytechnic and your major? Elsa, you go first.
So I chose my major, basically, it's called user experience design. I was very much appealed to it because of the fact that it's where technology meets creativity. I knew I wanted to go into the tech field. but it was just not limited to certain things. I wanted to interact with the users. I wanted to design. So user experience design was something that appealed to me a lot. And I learned that Polytechnic, the program at Polytechnic was more had more of a hands-on approach, and we basically have projects, we work with clients, and we basically, it goes from a problem to a solution. So the whole plan of study for user experience design was very intriguing, and I was like, this is something that I totally would want to do for my throughout my college career. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I chose my major and the Polytechnic.
Someone else?
I'll
Zera.
go.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'll go. So I chose cybersecurity originally as my only major because Purdue, the program is really, really good. And I knew that I wanted to have a school that had that level of prestige associated with it. But then on top of that, specifically in the Polytechnic, I feel like we're very collaborative instead of competitive. So we are in a major that's really really good. But also on top of that, everyone's trying to help each other out. No one's trying to get like that top spot or anything like that. Everyone's really cooperative and collaborative, which has been really, really nice. And then I chose my second major just this past summer. So I'm already a junior, but I'm going to be graduating on time, adding the second major because network engineering technology has a lot of layover with cybersecurity. So I only have to take about 3 or 4 extra classes to get both of those majors, which is really cool.
Wonderful. Zera.
All right. So I originally wanted to go into like.
Oh, we lost you, Zera. I can't hear you. Okay, someone else.
I can go, yeah. So Elsa kind of mentioned some of the similar reasons I wanted to major in UX. I just like when I was like looking at the different programs I could, like at different colleges also like go into. I just read that like the UX program at the Polytechnic was just really hands-on, and I have had the opportunity to work with like several different companies from like small startups to like large corporations. So it just gives you also like a glimpse into like how it would be to work with these different companies, and you also get like the opportunity to network with these employees from these companies. So it's just like a lot of hands-on experience, but also like making connections with people.
Thank you. So, how are you doing there, Zera? Yep. Okay, we'll move on to the second question, and once you get it going, you can jump in at any time. Okay. Second question is, what surprised you about the transition from high school to college life, and what kind of adjustment did you have to make when you were a first year student? Melanie, you go first.
Okay, so the most important thing I think for transitioning from high school to college life is organization. You don't have a lot of things are on your shoulders that you didn't realize that weren't in high school. Like a lot of classes, teachers aren't gonna take attendance and make sure you're there every time. It's kind of up to you to make sure you're keeping up with all of your classes and homework and exams and everything like that. There's no kind of a myth is that there's something called midterm week, when in reality there's just like midterms begin and then teachers just have exams for the rest of the semester. So like keeping up with making sure that you know what your professors are asking of you and you understand what's going to be going on is really a lot more up to you in college than it was in high school. So I would say keeping everything organized in one spot. I'm a big color coder, so like everything has a different color in my notebook and I know exactly what's going on that way. And I think making sure you're structuring your time and organizing your thoughts that way is like critical.
Any other comment? But for those of you that are double majoring or have a couple, we do have a question from the chat from Ria, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. For the people double majoring or minoring, how manageable is the course load?
So for me, I'm double majoring and I have already like achieved my minor, but you still are taking the same amount of classes that you would be taking if you had one major usually. Like, so normally a student would have 12 to 18 credit hours. I don't have any more than that, regardless of the fact that I have two majors. So it really is just like how you work with your advisor to balance out those more hefty classes with some of your other ones. But as far as what you're taking at any given semester, I wouldn't say that it adds that much more work. It's just making sure that you're taking the right classes when, and your advisor is devoted to making sure that you do that. So.
What helped you get acclimated to Purdue and the Polytechnic, especially as a young woman? Anyone? Taylor, we haven't heard from you yet. You remember that? I know it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. But I do remember what helped me get acclimated. Specifically, Miss Tony's Women in Technology Tech 101 class, that helped me get acclimated very quickly, meeting 50 other girls that were also freshmen, didn't know anybody in the Polytechnic, and we were all united in that one class. And so I considered like everybody in that class to be my friend by the end of the semester. And I made my best friends that in that class, who ended up being like my best friends for all like 4 years of college and still now. And then on top of that, the Women in Technology Club, which expanded to all 4 years and everybody. So that also helped me find mentors and girls that could give me advice for my major and like help me stay on track and stuff and be the best I can possibly be. So I would say those are the two major things that helped me get acclimated really quickly.
Anyone else? Melanie or Elsa or Katherine? What? And Zera, we're back. She's back.
I am back. Do you mind repeating the question?
The question we currently have is what helped you get acclimated to Purdue and the Polytechnic, especially as a young woman?
Oh, I can answer that one.
Okay.
I'll say it was definitely joining clubs affiliated with the Polytechnic, and one that really called me was the Women in Technology Club that we have. I was able to go there, and being in an engineering major, I am only one of a few girls in the classroom. So it was really nice to connect with other females across all technology majors and being able to connect with them and talk with them about how my day was going or how I felt doing a project in a class or anything. It just felt like a safe place I could be. And another place that I also felt really helped me out was the Recruitment, Retention, and Diversity Office, which Toni works at. Anytime I had any questions about anything, whether it was trying to find a tutor or trying to find where a classroom was or getting advice about things to do, I always knew I could go into their office, chat with them for a couple minutes, and I would feel better. So those were a couple resources that really helped me out.
Thanks, Zara. Yeah, we in the Office of Recruitment, Retention, and Diversity, there's, I think, 5 or 6 of us from Guillermo and then Kathy and Cindy, and now we have Brittany and Ryan. So yeah, our office is open to students and we're here to support for sure. Thank you. Logan just joined us. Logan, it was in class until like 7:15 or 7 o'clock. And so she's joined us. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself, Logan. Just tell us, your name, where you're from, what your major is, and we'll go from there. Okay. And tell us why you picked your major in the Polytechnic.
Hi everyone, my name's Logan. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm a pro flight major. I've always been like super into airplanes, and my dad was a pilot, so that's how I kind of got into flying. And then was super excited when I got into Purdue, so I was really happy to come here.
Great, thank you. You're a freshman, Logan. What's helped you so far get acclimated to Purdue and the Polytechnic as a young woman?
I am a freshman, yeah. I've definitely loved the Women in Technology program or club, I guess. It was actually a class I took with Miss Toni, and so I really enjoyed that. It was like once a week, super easy, and it was fun to just talk to all these other girls who kind of understand what you're going through, especially being from somewhere far away, not really knowing many people. So it was nice to have a community that was all kind of all in the same boat with you.
That's funny because this is that's the next question. But does anybody want to say anything else? Because my next question is share your experiences with the Women in Technology learning community and the Tech 10 or the Tech 101 class, which is the class that I teach, and I highly, highly recommend it. So those of you that are out there listening, definitely consider the Women in Technology learning community and the Tech 101 class. But anyone, if anyone else wants to share that was part of the class or is part of the learning community and maybe your experiences with it.
Yeah, I can answer that. So I was part of the learning community and the class and the club, so I was involved in like all aspects of it. But I can talk about the learning community a little bit. So it was just a really great way to just get to know people. Especially like for me, like I go anywhere outside, and no one would know what my major is, or so I have to explain everything to them. But like the learning community, there's a couple of us in UX design that we could get together and actually talk about like our projects, like how our classes are going. And I know many people would like study and do homework together. So it's just a great way to get to know your classmates and other people from different majors and just connect with each other.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions from the chat. Gianna, she wants to know, did you take any classes outside of the Purdue Polytechnic College or so definitely talk about those classes outside of your major. Anyone?
I can
Go
go.
ahead.
You first.
Okay. Okay. Well, my minor is outside of the Polytechnic, so my minor is in Law and Society, which is part of our College of Liberal Arts. So I had to take a lot of sociology classes for that, which was interesting for me because cybersecurity law is one of my interests. So being able to sort of intersect the humanities and any of our tech majors is really cool. We also have a program called Degree Plus where you can actually get a liberal arts major in basically the amount of work that would be a minor to have another major on top of your tech major, which is pretty cool. Other classes are like kind of ones that most students have to take their first year. So like I had to take Calc 1 and 2 and economics, English, stuff like that a lot of students have to take regardless of your major. And that's kind of cool because you get to meet other people from outside of your school in general. So it is nice to sort of branch off and like go out on campus and see other kind of things.
Wonderful. Someone else? Elsa?
So I have two minors, which is communication and psychology. So I have taken a couple of classes in the communication field. One of my favorite is Com 318, which is about principles of persuasion. I think it was a very helpful class for me, and it's kind of important for my major because I need to interact with various professionals from all different fields. And when it comes to psychology, I've taken a couple of classes for my minor. In there also it was basically like it was very interactive, and there was a lot of reading, and we had a bunch of exams. But I think that the professors made it worthwhile. Like they were so helpful. Since I did my first year online because of COVID, my professor, she made very interactive videos. She had like fun bits here and there, which was I always used to look forward to her videos all the time because they were so fun to watch. Um, yeah, so these classes in psychology is important because as a user experience design major, I need to understand the user's point of view and understand how they will be thinking when it comes to certain products and how they would navigate applications and websites, etc.
Wonderful, thank you. I want to really briefly re-emphasize what I think Melanie said about the Degree Plus. That's an opportunity that as a Purdue Polytechnic student, you can get two majors. You can get a major in the Polytechnic and get a Bachelor of Science degree, but then you can also get a Bachelor of Arts degree from the College of Liberal Arts. And the way what they've done is they've waived all the major requirements, and all you have to do is take the courses related to the major. So it might be, I don't know, Melanie, you might be able to say, I think like maybe 30 credits, 15 to 30 credits. I think it's 30 credits, and you can actually have the double major. Is that right?
I'm not sure exactly what the credit amount is. I just know that you have to take non-departmental courses to get your major in the Polytechnic anyway. So there is like a lot of crossover. So it's not like you're taking an additional like 5 classes and you still get that major.
So, and that's just a partnership that we have with the College of Liberal Arts, where they have waived the general requirements, and we can only, our students, you know, can only take or can take just the courses related to the major, which is a really nice thing that they're doing for us. It's really nice. Okay. Another question from the chat is it common to need to get some tutoring or help support? Go for it.
I love this question. Yes, it is very common. It is very normal, and it doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. Over in the Polytech, we are so fortunate to have lots of tutoring programs. We have this thing called BEST, which is Building Excellence. You know the rest of it.
Yeah, for students in technology.
There you go. And we also have tutoring for the physics and calculus classes that most Polytech students have to take. I personally felt super confident coming into Purdue about my major and everything, but then I realized really quickly that I didn't have good study habits, and that in college you move a lot faster than you do in high school. So that caught me off guard pretty quick, and I decided that I wanted to reach out for help. And the cool thing about BEST, it's a peer mentoring program. So it's people in your major or even outside of your major who know what they're doing in the class that you need help in. And they mentor you through it because they know what it's like to take that class rather than maybe someone else who doesn't really know, like they know the topic, but they don't really know what the class setup is like. So I went to plenty of those sessions. I spent my Saturday mornings getting tutored. And honestly, I can say it probably saved me from getting low grades in a bunch of like on a bunch of assignments. And I also learned that really quickly that professors are more than willing to help you if you just ask for the help. Like they don't know you need help if you don't tell them. So I really relied on office hours, reaching out to people in my class, and even like our teaching assistants. Everyone is like super helpful, and it doesn't mean that you're not smart. I would try to get rid of that negative connotation from people who need tutoring. It just means you need a little help getting in the direction you need to go.
Thank you, Zara. Anyone else want to talk a little bit about that? Getting help, getting support, groups, study groups, or anything?
I can add to it. So I work for the Academic Success Center. One of the main programs from the Academic Success Center is the supplemental instruction. They're not necessarily tutoring sessions exactly. So it's basically a study session that's led by a peer who has already gotten a very good grade in that class previously. So they'll basically go over the hard concepts, and they will have activities that will expand your knowledge on that particular concept. So I think this is very helpful. I do know a lot of people who have gone to supplemental instruction, and they genuinely thought that it was very helpful, and they in fact go back to those supplemental instruction sessions every week. So there's a particular schedule up on the Academic Success Center's website. There are math courses, chemistry courses, physics, and all of those courses come under supplemental instruction, and the leaders are so friendly and they are very supportive. They also host their own office hours. So if you need some sort of one-on-one help, or you have some sort of doubts, you can always approach them. Their office hours is conducted at the Academic Success Center space, which is in Wiley. So yeah, that's one of the resource which helps students and has helped me as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So how is the grading? This is also from the chat. How is the grading in the STEM classes? I heard that there is a grade deflation, making it more competitive. Can the students talk about their experiences with grades and the classes in the class environment? Anyone can take that. Who hasn't? Logan, you haven't shared in a little bit. How's the grading in your classes?
I will say I have never heard of grade deflation before. Um, I don't really have an experience with it. For me, grading has always been as long as you stay on top and you're like checking how you're doing on assignments and on tests and stuff, it's pretty easy to stay on top of and make sure that you're where you want to be. But other than that, it's really like I don't have much to add.
Okay, anyone else? Talk about your
Oh,
grading. Go ahead.
I could go. So I went through all 4 years and I can't think of a single class that I had that had grade deflation, at least especially not from the Polytechnic. The Polytechnic definitely rewarded you if you, yeah, as Logan said, if you stay on top of your work and you get the help where you need and you study for those tests, you will get good grades. Like it is definitely directly correlated with your work ethic and the amount of effort you put in. And not even in any of my major requirements or anything else like that, like did we have grade deflation. In harder classes like Calc 2, we even had a grade like upwards curve because it was so hard, so they curved the grades upwards. And that's the only thing I can think of that ever had like a significant curve. So yeah.
Okay. All right, well, let's go talk about mentoring programs that you're involved with, like the Witty Sisters, and maybe why you're part of them. And I know there's several of them besides the Witty Sisters.
I can take this one.
Sure.
Witty Sisters is our mentoring program within the Women in Technology organization. Essentially, all of our first years that want to participate get paired up with an upperclassman who's in the same major as them. And you can discuss what classes you think you should take. You can figure out like what you might want more help on for those classes. But on top of that, it's also just, you can just be friends. Like you always like go and get coffee with like I go and get coffee with my mentee. We just talk about life. I know I have a friend who her mentor when she was a first year like taught her how to use the bus system at Purdue. It's just nice to have a familiar face that's already gone through what you are about to go through, and it can be like your first point of contact when asking those questions. And then we also do like Witty Sisters group meetings where all of the people in the program get together. So you can meet up with different pairings and just see what everyone else is kind of doing with that as well. So mentoring for Witty Sisters has been like one of my favorite parts about WIT in general. I think it's a really, really great program because not only does it benefit the mentees, but also being a mentor is also a really rewarding feeling, getting to be like, well, I had a mentor, now I am one, and get to share your new experiences. And it's just like an all around really fun experience.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other mentoring programs that you're involved with?
Yeah,
have
I was. Oh, go for it,
no,
Logan.
go ahead. Okay, I would say I have a witty mentor. Supposed to see her tomorrow actually, and I will say like having her has been super helpful for me, especially in the aviation program. Like a lot of times there's like some big questions I had, or I was really nervous for something and didn't know what to expect, and she was always like my first person to go to. She's always been like super helpful for me, so I would definitely recommend.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And Zera, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say I've been a mentee and a mentor, and I loved both sides of it. My favorite mentee moment was when I was a freshman, and my mentor, what from Emerging Leaders, was a senior in a whole different major, doing a whole different thing, and it was really nice to be able to go to him every week and just complain about everything about my life and then also talk about all the good things. And he had no clue what I like like he wasn't affiliated with anything that I talked about. So I really felt like it was a safe space where I could just talk and feel like I'm not like saying something wrong. And he really created that safe space for me. So when I was a mentor, I tried to do the same thing. And like Melanie said, I've taught them how to use the bus system. I've told them like great places they can eat around campus, best places to study, and also a big thing that I'm pretty good at now is like the studying habits, which is pretty cool. So I definitely suggest that if you can get a mentor your freshman year, go ahead and get one.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. One question from the audience. And you made me think of this, Zera. What's it really like being in classes that this is person saying, I'm assuming is mostly male? I know in high school, the guys can tend to talk over the girls, particularly in STEM type classes. So share your experiences with the males in your classes. And Taylor, anyone can share, what's it like?
So it was mostly okay. Like, or it was fine. I didn't have any unpleasant experiences I can directly remember. I think, yeah, I think it was okay. I did tend to like, I had a group of friends and we tended to start signing up with classes together. So, that's another strategy is like, if you make those connections with girls and guys too that are friendly, you can try to do group projects with them, though that's not always the case. Like sometimes you can't help it. Um, Usually, you know, it's not too much you can control. You just try to do the best you can. And usually the professors, if something was to happen, the professors are pretty understanding. In the CIT department, the Computer Information Technology department, we actually have a lot of female professors. So it's actually highly likely that your professor could be female, especially for any of the classes. So if you've experienced some kind of uh, tension or awkwardness, you can confide in your professor and they can help you out. And maybe they'll have gone through it themselves. So yeah.
Thanks, Taylor. Melanie, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never had any like really like negative experiences, but two things. One, walking into a lecture hall and already being a part of WIT and or something like that is really helpful because you will walk in and see just like a lot of dudes and like already having these familiar faces is really a great tool. You know who you might want to sit with, stuff like that. But on top of that, I would just say get used to and being underestimated. I almost enjoy it at this point when like I'm in a group with two guys and we're working on a lab and they're like, "Oh, do you want to like write down the procedures as we do this?" And I'm like, feel free. And then they ask me questions and then it ends up just being like me doing it and them writing the procedures. Like if they underestimate you, it isn't always a bad thing to just prove them wrong. It's kind of fun. So yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, this one is a popular question. I have several hands up, so
Yeah.
definitely. Zera and then Elsa.
Absolutely. So mansplaining is real. It never goes away. It probably follow you to the workforce. Taylor can probably agree. But a really important thing is you have to also believe in yourself. Like if someone is going to underestimate you, you have to, believe in yourself enough where you're like Melanie said, you're like, okay, believe what you want. I know I can do this. We actually had a recruiter come into WIT the other day saying how men in the workplace would be like, are you sure you did that correct? And it would make her second guess herself. That's something that's really important that you got to make sure you don't do that. You're like, no, I did that and I know I did it right. And if you didn't do it right, I mean, that's okay. That's a part of learning. That's a part of the experience. Um, my biggest advice about that is just really believe in yourself or it will end up getting to you, especially being like one of a few females in the classroom.
Elsa?
I did not have any unpleasant experiences, but a few tips that I could give is that don't apologize for asking questions. Um, I know like sometimes we tend to feel like we feel like we're bothering someone when we ask questions, but really it's don't it there's no problem in asking questions, and avoid using phrases like if that makes sense or this might sound dumb or this might sound weird, because we don't that's not valid, you know. You are valid to your own opinion and your own explanations, and you don't have to say that if that makes sense or this might sound weird. Like, I don't, just be yourself, like Zara had mentioned.
Anyone else want to comment? All right, we have another question. In general, how is the spirit energy on campus, and how's the social level? How easy is it to make friends? So there's two questions in there. What's the spirit, the energy on campus? We haven't heard from Katherine. We haven't heard from Logan in a little bit. What do you guys think? How easy is it to make friends, or how is the spirit energy on campus? You can handle one of those.
I can
I
talk a
will
little about
say
like
the, oh, sorry.
sorry
No,
about like
go ahead. Go ahead.
about making friends. There's just so many clubs and organizations you can get involved in, and it doesn't have to be like major related. Like I know my freshman year, I went out and I explored a couple ones. Like there's even like a pet a puppy club. So there's just so many different things you can get involved in that aren't necessarily related to like your major or like anything about like a learning community. You just have to kind of look out for those things, and there's plenty of ways to find those clubs. So that's just one way to kind of balance out academics and your social life.
Logan?
I did Greek life, so I've made a lot of friends through that. And I will say, like, living in a dorm, I don't live in a learning community, but just like the amount of people you'll meet just like across the hall is like there's so many ways to meet people, so it's really easy to make friends.
Now, how would you guys describe the spirit or the energy on campus?
I would say the spirits are high, the energy's great, especially when it comes to like Purdue related sports or anything. You see everyone walking around in their Purdue gear, their game day bibs. Everyone has a big smile on their face, super excited to go cheer on their classmates as they play on. And not even just during those events, like they're like every Friday we have this one group of kids that dress up in morph suits and they go around campus dancing just to get the morale high. I mean, what other way would you want to spend your Friday than watching people dance around in morph suits? Um, and it's just as easy as that to make friends. Just doing something that you enjoy. If you are walking into a dining court and all the tables are full, but there's an empty seat at a table, it is okay to go up and be like, hey, can I join you guys? And just start conversation. I've made so many friends that way. I made a friend just like talking about boba while I was walking, and she wanted to join, so she ended up joining us and becoming friends. It's if you try, it's there. The opportunities are there.
Cool, thank you. Anyone else? Taylor, this question's for you. Tell us about your work after graduation. What is your job, and how did your Purdue degree help you be well prepared for it when you first started? There was a question in the chat as well, which I think I'm going to try to read, because they wanted to know about internships, and she's very interested in the cybersecurity program and how it's provided you with enough skills and knowledge to extend in jobs and internships. So that's kind of all related. So you want to share with that?
Sure. Okay, so glad you mentioned the internship part, because that makes a perfect setup for me to talk about how I ended up at Apple in my current job. So Purdue has a lot of really great recruiting or and internship resources. Like we have multiple career fairs just dedicated to hiring um, students. Like we have the computer information technology department career fair, which is literally dedicated to hiring cybersecurity students, for example, amongst the other majors we have too. So that's kind of how I got the ball rolling with some of the internships I did. Meeting companies there helped me build my resume over the years. And then eventually I ended up traveling to like a large career fair just to keep meeting new companies and stuff. As a junior, I went to the Grace Hopper celebration, which is the largest computing career fair for women in technology. And I ended up speaking to Apple because I went in the cybersecurity line, and there was no one there because there's still not enough women in cybersecurity. Walked straight up, and that person I ended up talking to ended up interviewing me, and he's my manager now. Because we got along so well. So I interned for them from my after my junior year into my senior year, and then I was given a return offer. So I'm part of their new graduate rotational program. So right now, in my first rotation, I'm a web developer creating like internal web app security tools for Apple. So that's basically all I can really say. But I really like it. I like that I get to build a security tool and also apply knowledge that I got from my cybersecurity major. And I like programming. I've always really liked it. And web programming specifically is nice because you can see like everything you're doing as you're doing it. So that's cool. Usually I'm just implementing someone's design though. I'm not really creating it because the designing it part is for the UX majors that we have here and stuff. But I still really enjoy it. I'm thinking about my next rotation being offensive security. We're given the ability to just change to any team that we want to after 6 months. So we have 4 rotations. So mine's coming up in a month, and I gotta start narrowing down exactly what team to go to, exactly what I'm gonna do. But I'm pretty excited. So I like the skills that I'll be applying and the knowledge I'll be applying from Purdue is gonna keep like growing and changing as I rotate. Like for example, I could rotate to a project management team and I could be a project manager if I wanted to. We have a senior level class that teaches you project management. So far, like it definitely helped me like understand the project managers that I work with better. But who knows, like I could even rotate and I could be one of those project managers myself and I could be using it every day. But definitely in general, the labs really helped me build my own independence and problem solving a lot. It's definitely a lot of like trial by error and definitely teaches you a lot about like where's the best places to find resources to help you get your project done or your code written or the machine you need to deploy, all of that stuff. Yeah, so I did I hit everything?
I think
There were a
so.
lot of
Great job. Thank you, Taylor. Anyone else want to talk about their
okay.
internships or opportunities that they've had so far to obtain one?
I can talk about mine. So I'm going to be interning at Amazon Web Services this upcoming summer as a cloud support engineer intern. So I'll be working at AWS to basically they house about 40% of the world's cloud infrastructure. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. And I would definitely say that going to the career fairs, although I didn't get my internship through the career fairs, just being able to go to those and get the experience of talking to those companies and getting more comfortable interviewing with those companies was huge for me. And then as far as cybersecurity goes, I would definitely say that's going to help prepare me immensely for what I'm going to be doing. I had a technical interview for this internship, and they were asking me all these questions that I didn't know the answer to. And now that I've had a semester and a half of more education since my technical interview, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm learning about everything that they asked me about. Like, it's all starting to make sense. It all goes together. So definitely the classes will prepare you. And it's cool that I didn't really realize this, but like, I just put those things on my resume. Like, I thought, oh, I don't have a job in cybersecurity yet. Like, what do I tell them that I know about cybersecurity? Just talk about your classes. Put the tools that you're working with on your resume, and they'll see that and know that that's what you're working with. So I think as far as cyber is concerned, and also just in general, like what you'll learn in your classes can be applied in so many ways, and companies will know that. So that's really nice.
Thank you, Melanie. Anyone else want to talk? I just really quickly, I do want to say that in the Polytechnic, I think all the departments have their own job fair, and then there's a college-wide job fair as well. We just had one, I think it was last week, but construction management has a couple. It's computer graphics technology has their own. Aviation has their own job fair. All of them, all the departments have fair, college fairs where you can, I mean, yeah, career fairs that you can go to. So, I, Zara, you've had a couple of internships too, right?
I have. So the cool thing about the Polytech is they actually require you as a part of your degree to get an internship. So like Toni was saying, they do offer plenty of opportunities to help you get those internships. I got my freshman year internship by going to the Purdue wide industrial roundtables, which is like the biggest career fair. And I went to a company that said they weren't hiring freshmen, but I gave them my elevator pitch anyways because I told them I wanted to practice. And the recruiter said that she loved how confident and how bubbly I was and that she was willing to give me an interview. So ever since then, I've been interning with Allison Transmission. And kind of like Taylor was saying, since I've been there for a while, I've been able to like try different positions there. I got to try manufacturing. I got to try more electrical stuff. And I got to kind of like dip my toes in the water to see which I like best. But definitely reach out to your professors. Most of them have worked in the industry, so they have connections everywhere. Um, the uh, career fairs are a great place to get your name out there, even if it's with a company you don't want to work with. Use them to practice. Be like, hey, do you mind if I give you my pitch and my resume? Let me know what you think. And it's just a great time overall.
Wonderful. Thank you, Zara. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. A couple of the questions want to know about life in the dorms. So they want to know, those of you that are living in the dorms or have lived, what's the good, the bad? Let's say about Meredith South or any of the residence halls. Go ahead, Elsa.
So I live in Hillenbrand. I'm part of the data mine learning community. I feel like I'm one of the only few people who are doing data mine and having a user experience design major. But I feel like living in a dorm has taught me a lot of things. How to share things and share a living space. Growing up, I've been the only child, so I've had a room pretty much my whole life, and this was very different for me. I would say adjusting, having open lines of communication with your roommate. I'm an early bird, and my roommate likes to sleep in, and she sleeps late. So like it's very important to communicate that very well with your roommate as well, and and basically open lines of communication and being understanding. Just don't get mad very easily when like if they walk in or like disturb you. Maybe they're not having a very good day or something. So it's just be open-minded. Dorms are fun. I have had many floor events with my RA, and they were super fun. Some of them were so relaxing as well. One day there was a pancake making event, which was very fun. And then we have like relaxing events like coloring and cinnamon rolls. So it's overall a very good experience to go through. I love Hillenbrand. We have a dining court right downstairs. We're known for our Sunday brunches. Definitely, it's worth a try. Love the pancakes there. So yeah, that is my experience in Hillenbrand.
Anyone else want to share real quickly? Logan, are you in the residence hall now?
Yeah, I live in Windsor right now. I will say I was not really looking forward to living in a dorm. I didn't really know what to expect, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's actually a lot of fun. I've made a lot of friends that way, and it's part of the experience, I guess.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. One of the questions was for the Women in Technology Learning Community, is it just for the girls in the Polytechnic? The Women in Technology one is for the women in technology. The Women in Tech is for us, but there's women in engineering and all of them. And Meredith South right now houses the women in engineering, the women in technology, the women in ag, the women in science, and I think they're going to house the women in management. So you can all kind of live in the same residence hall. So I thought I'd answer that question for you. Another question was, how many hours of homework do you usually have per night or per week? If someone wants to take that kind of quickly, because we are kind of we're running kind of low here on time. We've got about 10 or 15 minutes left. What's your workload like?
For me, I would say, oh, sorry, Zara, go ahead. All right, I would say for me, I don't actually have that much homework. It's a lot more labs. So for at least for my degree, it's like they'll give us a lab for a class that's like you have 2 weeks, and then you go in during your scheduled lab time, but then it always takes a lot longer than your scheduled lab time. So I would find that most of my time that I would consider be doing homework is actually spent in the labs working on like reaching that sort of 2 week goal. Of course, there's homework in all of your classes, but or most of them, but I would say like I get to bed. I go to bed super early, and I'm in bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock every night, and I sleep 8 hours just fine. But I would say most of my time is spent not doing homework, but doing labs.
Anyone else want to comment? Catherine, you haven't said anything in a while.
Go for
Yeah, I
it,
was
Katherine.
gonna say, kind of similar to like what Melanie said. For me, as a UX major, most of my time is actually spent in the studios, which are 3 to 2 hours long. So I know that like sounds a lot, but you're expected to get like your work done, so that way you minimize outside work time. So most of my homework is actually for like my classes that are not related to my major. But I think like if you like work on your time management skills, you can actually get it done pretty much earlier in the day. I try to stick to like a 9 to 5 schedule. After 5 o'clock, I try not to do homework. If not, just get to it the next day. But yeah, I think it just depends on your major and like how much time you devote homework to doing it in class.
Okay, thank you. Logan, you're a pilot. How is that maybe a little bit different than what some of the other students are going through?
I will say I typically don't have that much homework. Like she said, a lot of time is actually spent at the airport doing labs, which for us are our flights. So that's more of where my time goes and less of like, staying up late at the desk, cramming and things like that.
All right. Okay, let's see. Questions we haven't gone through yet. New ones? No. You know what? I'm going to go back to one for Taylor. Taylor, you graduated from Purdue in 2021, but how did your interest back in high school lead you to majoring in cybersecurity at Purdue?
So I always had an affinity for computers, like dating back to when I was pretty young. I just always enjoyed spending my time on them. And you know, the more time you spend on the computer, things eventually break or you need to fix stuff up. And I used to take a lot of pride in like doing like IT skills on my computer. I started like taking some programming classes over the summer for fun in middle school. And in high school, I took all the programming and technology related electives I could, just because it was my favorite thing to do. Um, I was actually in between majoring in computer science or actually started off as a computer information technology major at Purdue, and eventually switched to cybersecurity after my freshman year. Um, so I just always really liked computers. I came to Purdue and started off as CIT because it focused more on like the cross section of like human interaction and technology, or like business interaction and technology, which I thought was really fascinating. So that's originally what like led me to this. And then I ended up switching to cybersecurity because I just thought cybersecurity was really fascinating as well. Like it's just really, really broad and there's so many specializations and there's so many ways I can still get that like intersection of business and technology in like everyday cybersecurity stuff. So I'm still like fulfilling that because there's a lot of overlap between those two majors. So that's yeah, that's how I ended up in cybersecurity and
No, that's
stuff.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it. Um, what's it like getting help in your classes, like from your professors or your friends or things like that? Because it's sometimes, we've mentioned that some classes, high school is not like college is not like high school, and there may be some struggles. And you've talked about BEST. What's it like with the professors and things like that?
I can start this one. So I love building relationship with my professors. It just really helps ease that like student professor vibe. Like I don't really know how to say it, but it came to the point where sometimes I would go to my professor's office hours just to chat, get to see how they're doing, really build that relationship, make it stronger. And so that when I went in for help, my professor knew my name. They knew how I was doing in the class. They knew my work ethic. And it wasn't like it was the day before the final and I have a D in the class and I'm begging them to round up, but they've never seen my face, never heard of my name before. So it really makes a difference having those connections with your professors. And like I said earlier, most of them are very knowledgeable about the industry as well. So if you put in a good impression, they will put your name out there to whoever you need them to do it for. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend going to office hours, maybe the first week, just being like, hey, my name is this, like, I'm taking your class for this reason. What do you suggest I do? How do you suggest I study? Some of that stuff they do go over in the syllabus, but it's better just to get that one-on-one connection and like getting to know them better.
Wonderful, thank you. There was a question here in the chat really quickly about midterms and finals. Are they regular classes, regular exams? Or are they lab type exams? Somebody want to take that real quick?
I know for engineering technology, you have both. Since your lab grade and your lecture grade are sometimes separated, you'll take your midterms in class about the theory that you learned in lecture, and then you will have lab practicals where you take what you learned in those theory and see if you can actually apply it. For most of mine, it was like the labs we had done before, all of them combined, and then we had a lab practical about it. I'm not sure how it is in the other departments.
Okay, Melanie, quickly. And Melanie, after you share, talk about the Women in Technology Club very quickly, because we are running out of time here. And we haven't talked about WIT, okay?
Awesome. I'll do both really quick. So I just wanted to say that I'm actually in a class right now where the professor's letting us pick whether we want our midterm to be a practical or on paper, like theory-based exam. So sometimes they'll let you do that too, which is cool. But I'll talk about WIT more because that's my thing. So Women in Technology is our organization. We have about 100 members currently, a lot of students from the learning community join WIT, but you do not have to be in the learning community to be a part of the club. I wasn't in the learning community and I still participate. We're an academic and social group on campus. So on the more academic professional development side, we have companies come in and talk to us pretty often. They talk about advice, what they do at their company, what their job openings are, how you can apply, if you can get their names. We do a career panel kind of along the same lines, but with like a group of companies that come in and talk to us. Also in professional development, we do like LinkedIn reviews, resume reviews, ways to sort of help you build up your own personal sort of arsenal for joining the workforce. And then on the social end of things, we also have a lot of really fun meetings like game night. We'll do movie night, stuff like that. We had like a yoga night last semester during finals week as like sort of a de-stressor, which was really fun. So lots of different opportunities to get involved. And then on top of that, we also have a lot of volunteer opportunities. So we have camps called Wow It and Do It, which are for high schoolers that come in and want to learn about the Polytechnic. And so there's opportunities to sort of do some outreach as well by joining WIT.
Any other clubs anybody wants to talk about really quickly or that have helped you or that you're involved with? No? Okay, well, we're really getting to the end here. And so I'm going to ask, what advice do you have for these young women who are listening, who are thinking about, they've been admitted to the Polytechnic, they're thinking about coming here. What advice do you have for them, you know, on their way to college to be successful at Purdue and the Polytechnic and why they should come here? Okay, anyone can take it. Elsa, why don't you go first?
My number one advice would be to not be afraid to ask questions and reach out for help. Purdue has plenty of resources that can help you, your advisors, again, Academic Success Center, your college, basically like Polytechnic or College of Science. They all are here to help you. Faculty members can help you, professors can help you, or even TAs in certain classes. So just don't be afraid to reach out for help. When you need it, always ask for it.
Okay, Zera, you can go next.
Yeah, so for me, a big one is be okay with change. Like coming to college with itself is a change, but try not to come in here with a hard, strict schedule of what you want your college life to be like. Every day is going to change. I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic my freshman year, but here we are. So just be okay with change. That's my advice.
Logan, how about you?
I'd say don't pass up any opportunities. You can try anything once, especially with clubs and stuff. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. But it's definitely worth a shot.
Thank you. How about you, Melanie?
My advice would be try everything you want to try. If someone says, "Hey, are you going to the basketball game?" Go to the basketball game. See if you like it. It's an hour of your life. If you hate it, you can leave. But like, just say yes to everything. Try a little bit of everything. You'll be able to meet so many more people that way. You'll be able to figure out what you like and don't like a lot quicker than just sticking with what you know and not trying anything else. So I think just sort of put yourself out there a little bit, and it'll definitely be worth it.
But be safe, right? Be safe. Okay, how about you,
Yes.
Katherine?
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like a similar thing. Just get out of your comfort zone. So maybe do something you've always wanted to do, but maybe you're just too afraid. For example, in high school, I never did any like leadership positions, but I was able to do that here in college as a social media chair for a club, and it was something I was scared of, but it was a great like learning opportunity. So just do something you wouldn't have done before.
Okay, and now how about you, Taylor? What advice would you have either for our high school student or some of our current students to be successful in afterwards?
Yeah, so all of the above, everything that's been said so far is very true. And I will add, stay organized, try to develop a strong work ethic and remember, what you're at college for and that every hour is like $100. So try to go to lecture and study and use everything to your maximum and do the best you can.
Thank you very much. I also want to kind of direct all of you, if you have any other last minute questions, ladies, please put them on the chat because, I was given permission to run a little bit over. But I also want to let you know that we have a Women in Technology, Women in the Polytechnic webpage. It has videos, lots of current and former female students. There's lots of links to it, lots of resources, especially for the women in the student organizations, because we talked a little bit about women in technology, but we have women in aviation, we have women in construction, we have women in, I think, animation, women in cybersecurity. There are lots of different opportunities for you. So really check out the Women in Polytechnic webpage. And it's on the screen so you can see, exactly what that web page is like and how to get there. So definitely check us out. And then I've just got a few kind of last minute closing, unless anybody has anything else that they'd like to say or share with the ladies that have been admitted here. No? You guys all good?
Hope
Okay.
to see you soon. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. That is really, really good. So I want to definitely thank you for joining us today from home. It's yeah, it's been a pleasure to read all of your questions and see kind of, I can almost see the excitement in your questions. So I want to thank all the panelists. You guys have been amazing, amazing, amazing. So thank you for taking time out of your studies and your classes and your preparation for exams and quizzes. So we really appreciate that. I also want to thank John. Thank you, John, for being behind the scenes, answering and getting all the questions to us as well. And as I mentioned before, please, please feel free to send us an email if you think about some questions later on and you think, oh man, I should have asked this or whatever. It's techrecruit@purdue.edu. And if you have any other additional questions and throughout the week, if you think. Also, if you haven't joined us for one of our admitted student information sessions, I know that Women in Technology has a chat. There's different chats also for the different uh, departments. Like, so there's a CGT student chat, there's a CNIT student chat, a aviation student chat. So join those chats, because the folks on the chats are only students, and you can ask them any questions you want about being a student in that major. We also have YouTube broadcasts focusing on student life at Purdue. It's coming on April 19th, so I want to recommend that one to you as well. There are several YouTube lives that are happening throughout the next several weeks, I think until April or so. From the different departments, but the one I want to recommend right now is the one for student life. It's for all students admitted to Polytechnic majors. You can also get information for all of those engagement opportunities at our admitted student information page. So go to the polytechnic.purdue.edu webpage, click on admitted students, and you can find all sorts of different opportunities that we have for you. If you haven't come to campus, come and visit us. We've got several Purdue's for Me. I think there's 6 different Purdue's for Me's that are scheduled throughout March and April. Please join us. Join us for some diversity days. We even have an admitted Polytechnic day, but I think that one's full. So scratch that. But the Purdue's for Me's are not, and they're the same. They're pretty much the same. So you'll get to meet with advisors, you'll get to meet with us, you'll get to meet with students, and so forth. You can also watch this broadcast again by going to polytechnic.purdue.edu/live. And there are still a variety of different broadcasts coming up to cover all sorts of different topics. And there's, kind of an archive of several other ones that have already passed. So yeah, all our past and present are available on our webpage. So just a quick reminder, the deadline to accept your offer for admissions is May 1st, but don't wait till then. If you want to live on campus, if you want to be part of the Women in Technology learning community and all of that, you have to submit your housing application by April 15th. But to submit your April 15th application for housing, you have to have accepted your offer. So what I would recommend is accept your offer somewhere around April 12th, April 13th. Once you have that acceptance, then you can sign up for your housing. So again, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night, and boiler up. Take care. Thank you.